Hi everyone, I'm Libby Meren. I'm the Open Source Product Marketing Manager at NGINX. And Timo and I are here today to talk to you about Unit, our open source application server. We're going to take you through how we used Unit to dynamically manage an application.
Hi, my name is Timo Stark and I'm a professional services engineer from NGINX.
So I was recently looking through some old books and I found one from my grade 5 class on space.
I bet that was a long time ago.
Okay, thank you, Timo. Yes, I don't think it's pretty obvious that I was born before 2000. So everyone, Timo and I were really enthusiastic about space and the planets when we were kids. And so we wanted to build a website for kids to learn about the planets using my grade 5 textbook as the source. So together, Timo and I built a simple static app in WordPress showing each of the planets in our solar system. We gave each planet a picture and a little bit of information about them.
So Libby, we used Elementor as a page builder to build this little gallery for the planets, as well as a little CSS-based background effect that makes it a little bit more spacey. Do you like it?
Yeah, I think it looks really good. So it was easy when we were deploying this on my local host, but it got a bit messy, Timo, when we were making changes and going back and forth between the two of us.
Yeah, I can imagine. So basically, that's the reason why I refactored this application a little bit. So I put the whole application inside a container, a Docker container, and posted it on Docker Hub. Therefore, it's easier for you to redeploy the application. And inside the Docker container, there is Unit as an application server and WordPress as the application. And what I've done here is I just created a small add-on for WordPress showing our planet information in a static JavaScript file. So those informations are at the moment not in any database right now.
Okay. And then Timo, it looks like you got a domain.
Right, yeah. So the domain here is space.nginx.org.
Cool. So there's Jupiter, cool. Uranus, Pluto. Oh, hang on, Timo. Pluto is showing up as a planet. That was probably true when my textbook was written, but there've been changes since then. I think Pluto's been downgraded and it's no longer a planet. Our solar system has 8 planets, not 9. You know what? I'll go into the JavaScript file and update the planet data based on the info on the NASA websites.
But I mean, but what we should do when they change something again? I mean, you're totally right. But do you know what would be maybe better? We don't. I mean, what we can do is we can write an API and get the latest planet information from the NASA, for example, and that will save us a lot of time and the need of updating our stuff manually. Do you think that will work?
I mean, I think it will, but won't that require having another container and, you know, multi-process handling in Docker is a pain in the ass? Won't this be a little complex for a simple application?
I got your point. So yeah, I mean, there are a couple of ways of creating a separate application, but in the case right now we have Unit. What I would suggest is what we can do is we can write an API, and I found an API and like a skeleton for Planet API we can use that's based on node.js. And as we have Unit as our application server, we can host WordPress as a PHP-based application alongside with our JavaScript-based API on NGINX Unit without having the need of creating a separate container, linking them together, and handling the deployment of two different containers at the same time.
Okay, so if you use this skeleton to create our API, and then we can have it as a separate application within the same container alongside WordPress. Is the skeleton you've got, is that written in PHP?
No, let me show you this. I just prepared something for you.
Okay.
So I have, let me close here. I found this little application that's serving a Planet service. And have a look. We have all the Planet information in here. And we can use this. And I made some really small changes to make it work with Unit. And what I want to show you now, I've prepared something. And what I want to show you now, Libby, is how easy it is to deploy our changes to Unit. And then we can curl an API endpoint to see actually, yeah, that our API is working. Do you want to see this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cool. So right now, we see there is no Planet API at the moment responding from our Unit container. But we can definitely change that very easy. So as you can see here, this is our NGINX space container with WordPress, and I've prepared something in addition. So the API will be exposed on port 85. And let me show you how easy it is to set up this API. So inside of the inside the container, we have the API right now inside the container. It's here, alongside with WordPress. And I have prepared a configuration file for you here. And let's have a brief look into this. So as you see here, that was the default one when we started, with a basic listener just for WordPress, an application just for WordPress. And what I did now is I changed that a little bit, and I created a second application, and it's our API. I'm listening on port 8081. And all that thing here is for WordPress, application, WordPress, WordPress, WordPress. And here, that's all we have to do to make our API work. It's a name of the application, in that case, API. The type is external because we're using node.js. And the working directory, as you saw, is var app_home/API. And the executable is server.js. And this is just something we have here. And that's basically all we have to do. We have the API code inside our container. We specified an application as well as a listener, and we link the listener to the application. And that's basically it.
Timo,
so
the APIs, it looks like that's been written in JavaScript. Does it matter that it's a different language to WordPress, which of course is PHP?
Not at all. If you use Unit, you have the possibility to use 7 different languages in one application server. So that means it doesn't really matter if it's PHP, JavaScript, or Node.js, if it's a Python or Go or Ruby application at all, or in PHP. I mean, you're free to choose one out of those application languages and just use it inside one application server. That's so easy. And let me reconfigure that for you. So this is the simple command here. And let me explain this for a second. As Unit is completely based on an API, that means you can configure Unit with an API. There's not a single configuration file you have to edit manually. You can edit the whole application server just with an API and send your config definitions as a JSON file to a specific API endpoint of NGINX Unit. And that's what we are doing here. And the good thing is, as you see, it will reconfigure the application server without having the need of restarting anything afterwards. It will just apply the new configuration instantly without any restart. So we have reconfigured unit. And what I want to show you now, Libby, is let's have a look inside the current in the unit configuration. So it's localhost config. So here, there's our API. And there is our listener.
Oh, that's
cool.
Awesome.
So now let's exit the container, go back to my host machine. And we saw earlier, I prepared something and say, all right, 8081 is our API and it's exposing port 85 on my local machine. So let's curl the Planet API. There you go. That looks better. So now we have an API. That means we have Mercury, Venus, and see this. We have a lot more information than we had before. That's awesome.
Because it's got the latest information.
Yes, I think so. And now I prepared a little JavaScript here, and I changed the way of handling those information. And in case I did everything right, we should see now for the next planet a lot more information, because I changed the implementation set. If the API is reachable and we can read data from the API, we use the data from the API. If the API is not responding, we use this old 2000s textbook data so for our WordPress site. So finger crossing.
Fingers crossed it'll use the API, and if not, it'll fall back to the hard-coded info that we got from my grade 5 textbook.
Right.
Oh, look at that.
Cool. Saying Saturn, gas giant. Oh, it's from NASA's eye. Interesting. Let's see what we have. Jupiter, Mars, Earth.
Back home.
Cool. Back home, Venus. Cool. So basically, now we're using our API based on unit.
Well, I know you had to write the API, but that was pretty quick and easy, Timo.
Yeah, and that's basically all you have to do. So just maybe as a summarization, what we did, we created our Node.js based API, as you can see here. We integrated our unit HTTP module, and all the rest here is just plain JavaScript based on the Express framework. Then we mounted our code base into the container, configured unit to use our API, and expose it to a special port, as we see here. And that's basically it. So that means we just added another application with a complete different language base. It's JavaScript and not even PHP, to the single application server. That's how it is. So no second container, no need of deploying a separate container, handling 2 containers, linking them together manually or something like that. It's just one container, a single container with 2 completely different applications.
That's so cool.
So we saw how easy it is to deploy a WordPress site inside a container with NGINX Unit as its application server, and how easy it is to deploy another application written in a completely different language without having the need of spinning up a second container, linking them together and all that stuff that's really painful. So with Unit, you can run your applications alongside each other, written in completely different languages without having that pain. That's how easy it is and how efficient you can manage your applications.
Thanks a lot for joining our session today. Check out the project in GitHub. The link should be on your screen right now. Have a great day.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much, Timo and Libby. It's been it's great to see that. Also, Pluto is a planet. I will not accept anything else as a classic Gen X move. Hey, so we've got the Tech Field Day delegates here live with Libby and Timo. Even though that was a recorded demo, they are live and they are ready to take some questions and comments. Delegates, this is your opportunity to ask some clarification or any other ideas. Who's up first?
I'll hop in here. I guess this one might be a softball. We saw JavaScript and PHP in action. What other languages can Unit run? And is there a limit?
So basically, at the moment, we support, beside from PHP and JavaScript, Perl, Python, Go, Java at this moment. So 7 different languages. And there's a limit if you mean how many applications you can run on one instance. So the limit is your capacity of your server, I would say. There's not a limit that you can say just one language or one module language per instance.
I think, Timo, you omitted a couple of the languages, but they're all documented at unit.nginx.org, and the ones that you'd expect to be able to run your apps on.
But it says it's a very lightweight. I mean, how big is this base container that we're running all of Unit in? I mean, are we adding a huge amount of overhead to the size of the shipping application?
Not at all. So it's really depending if you build your container by yourself, which is definitely possible. But the general base image with a unit language module is not even 100 megabyte in size. So this is a very small footprint.
And then do you configure each language that you want available in that container, or you get all of them at once? Is there a way to kind of strip it down to be smaller?
Mm-hmm. So the basic image is around 70 meg with a language module, and then it's depending on how many languages you want to use in the container. There is one container available, the NGINX Unit container tagged as full with all the language modules in place. This one is the biggest one, and as I said, this is around in the 100 megabytes. And if you just want to have a single container supporting a single language out of 7, this is a way smaller. On Docker Hub, all the containers officially supported from us with all the language modules are hosted on Docker Hub. So feel free to search for NGINX Unit and have a look on Docker Hub.
So as I understand, it's pretty lightweight and it gets very flexible for being used for lots of different functions and uses, but how well does it scale? Because I've had a number of, intended to be lightweight applications that suddenly turn into slightly more aggressive, mission critical, overused at a certain point where it becomes resource heavy. So I'm kind of curious about its scalability and its ability to be extended without having to stand up new instances and such.
Right. So basically, Unit itself will scale the processes handling your application traffic automatically for you. So this is one absolutely great feature. So and beside from that, it's totally possible to have multiple containers running your Unit application server in it. So that means Unit will take care of the worker processes and scale them automatically, and your cloud platform will scale the container if needed.
Since this is an application server, but it's an NGINX application server, would you put NGINX in front of NGINX in this case, or just serve it directly?
Would you put NGINX in front of Unit? Is that the question?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you're most welcome to do, depending on what sort of networking and routing you're trying to achieve. I will say that Unit was written and continues to be written by the people who brought you NGINX. So they're very conscious of the need to have not only sophisticated networking built in, but the scalability and robustness that you come to expect from NGINX. Depending on the scenario, if there's something you want to do, whether it's reverse proxy or your security built in, you can certainly use NGINX in front of your Unit instance to manage the traffic to your applications.